Okay, so there's this phrase, right? The phrase is the darkest hour is just before the dawn, and it's informed by a kind of hope. It's the kind of hope that laughs at impossible odds, that dares to risk all, chasing impossible dreams. The kind of hope that doesn't understand causality, stupid, irresponsible, badly thought through, and ill-conceived hope. Because life's not really like that. Like, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. If I call you up and say, I've just been diagnosed with stage 1 prostate cancer, and basically they caught it really early, but obviously, you know, I'm going to have to go through chemo now, and things don't look good. Then you say, well, don't worry, mate, because the darkest hour is just before the dawn. What you're assuming with that metaphor is that we're at the metaphorical 2 a.m. point. But in fact, we're probably nearer to about 10 o'clock, aren't we? It's almost certain to get a fuckload darker before it even thinks about getting light. And it might never get light again, let's face it. So by telling me the darkest hour just before the dawn, I start thinking about, well, we're in the darkest hour. But it also doesn't work literally, because the darkest hour is not just before the dawn, is it? Like, if you wake up and it's pitch black, and you don't know what time it is, and you're a betting man, yeah, it's less than likely that it's going to get light in the next hour, isn't it? Less than likely. Like, even in the middle of summer, there's pretty much 4 hours of all-you-can-eat darkness buffet to get through, isn't it? Yeah? I know this because I spent my 21st summer working nights in an old people's home. Now, I should just say, it's probably largely my fault. Most of the bad things in my life are my fault. I'm not a bad person, but I just choose things real badly. Like, I know no one's born with an innate ability to make really good choices, but I was a smart kid. I could spell psychiatrist at age 5, in fact. And my track record of big decisions and small decisions and all decisions is really bad. Like, I don't just choose badly, I choose bizarrely. Okay, so like, case in point, when I was a kid, I wanted to join the Royal Marines. That was my absolute burning ambition. I'll try and explain it without sounding weird. I thought it'd be really cool to get shot at and killed. That's basically what And I chose my GCSEs and my A-levels with that in mind. I wanted to impress the Marines recruiter. And I can't remember what I chose GCSE, but I can remember my A-levels and why I chose them. I chose biology to help me be a platoon medic, geography to help me understand map reading and navigation, and economics to understand war. Now, that's not really what those A-levels are for. Like, there's not much to do with sucking chest wounds or emergency amputations in the biology A-level syllabus, nor is geography really geared towards helping you find your way out of a forest at night and towards an enemy bunker. That's not what they're for, and I sort of knew that. But in my head, I had it that the Marines recruiter would look down my academic achievement record and go, fine A-levels, son. Damn fine A-levels. Now, you'll notice that the Royal Marines recruiter has an American accent. That's because he's an imaginary fucking person. Well, I didn't base that on anything. The Royal Marines, to be an officer, require 5 GCSEs, grades A to C, 2 A-levels, grades A to C, any subject, yeah? You can do subjects you're good at if you want to. You can do ones you enjoy if you really want to. They don't give a shit. I sort of knew that, but still just... So there you go. So when the time came to choose my degree and my university, I was older and more experienced, and my fuck-ups were more nuanced and better thought through. And I didn't want to be in the Marines anymore. Aside from anything else, I was a vegetarian, and I thought that shit would not fly in 4-5 Commando. So basically, I took a year out, and I turned down my primary offer of university, and I thought I'm going to take my time, think about it, decide what's right for me. But then my friend and I finished reading Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas at the exact same time, and we got kind of excited, and we thought it would be cool that since he was going to be a doctor, I could be a lawyer, and it would be like, he'd be my doctor, and I'd be his lawyer, so he'd be like, my doctor advised me to smoke more pot, my lawyer advised me to smoke more pot, and I'd be awesome, right? And so that's what I did. Now, that's stupid on a few levels that aren't immediately apparent. Firstly, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is obviously not the greatest basis for choosing your entire life path, just a book. Secondly, he'd always wanted to be a doctor. It was his lifelong ambition. He trained for it and really believed in it as well. He really believed in it. For him, the book was an amusing coincidence. Now, thirdly, because the book's not about the lawyer, is it? The book's about the doctor. The lawyer is a sidekick. It's after a sidekick. Kind of lame, like, it's kind of like wanting to be Robin. So yeah, I ended up studying law at State University, and it sucks, it's boring, and it's exacting, and it goes on and on and on, but I'm focused, and I really want to get through it, and I think Get through the first year, the second year is going to be easier for sure, everything always is. Darkest hour is just before the dawn, after all. And second year is way worse. Second year is hello. Second year is wee. So it looks like no. Second year is the worst year of my life, head and shoulders. It's I'm hungry and I'm lonely. I'm living on this scariest fucking state in Hackney, and it's freezing cold, and I don't understand what the fuck I'm doing studying law. Because for living in that state, just stop covering it. And yeah, I kind of lose the plot a little bit. And the council can't help. I stop going to lectures. I can't understand conversations or go to sleep or eat something. So yeah, I'm thinking, the darkest hours before the dawn, right? So I'm heading home and I want to finish my second year exams, get on to the third year, just get this shit out of the way, right? So I go back home to study for my end of years, and that's when I found out my girlfriend's fucking somebody else, because I read an email, not intended for me, in which she describes it in a pretty thorough amount of detail. And it's weird they can go in like 500 words, from loving somebody, respecting them and trusting them, to hating, despising and pitying them. It wasn't just the grammar, it was the phrasing. It was cliche and it was hackney. It was a cross between Dear Deirdre and a sex ed manual written for named schoolgirls by a mom. And so yeah, like, it actually spurs me on. I knuckle down, like I'm going to finish my second year of goddamn university. That's going to happen, right? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is a good book. And so basically I get through all the exams but the last one. I'm waiting for the last one, I'm preparing at home. My belly starts hurting, but it's only 5 days to the exam. I'm focused and I'm like, fuck that, take painkillers, get through it, right? Gets worse. I'm like, no, take painkillers, get through it. On the Saturday morning, my appendix burst, and my parents find me screaming, rolling around the driveway, right? So after 45 minutes in my dad's football of my dad's car, and a little while longer in the ambulance doing nitrous, I arrive at the hospital, right, darkest hours just before the dawn. We're around about the metaphorical midnight mark, right, guaranteed. So I'm lying in my gurney in the back of this hospital gown, and this guy pushes the camera further up my anus. And I don't really care, because I'm so drugged up, until the surgeon looks at my back and goes, oh, what a big tattoo. And my mum, who's in earshot, goes, tattoo? Yeah, and even through the drugs and the pain, I registered the disappointment, and I'm like, darkest hours just before dawn, right? Appendix burst, girlfriend fucking another man, hate every single thing in my entire life, camera in my anus, parents disappointed, like, this has got to be it, right? And it sort of is, because after the surgery, I wake up in hospital, and it's ace, man. Like, I've got this tube hanging out of me for this really interesting colour gunge, and every day they put on Neighbours, which I love because they give me heroin and a cup of tea, and it's like amazing. Neighbours is so immersive and warm and floating, and it's feel like a Sunday forever, you know. But then basically, I think like darkest hours just before the dawn, right? So then I get out, and I have to go out to Salisbury, which is my hometown, and there are no summer jobs left at this point. Everyone's taken them all the really good ones like Tesco's and all that kind of stuff. So I end up working nights in the old people's home, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. with an hour's sleep break. It's the perfect summer job. It's darkness and a slow slide into screaming death and decay all night, every night throughout the entire summer. And yes, in the daytime, I hang out with my ex-girlfriend and our mutual friends, all of whom I hate, but what can you do? And in the night time, I clean up shit and piss, and I roll over screaming, terrified people, and move old men through corridors telling them they don't own anything anymore. And then chat to guys about submarines whilst I smear pseudo-creme on their ex-matic ball sacks. And by 2 a.m. Each night, I'm feeling pretty overwhelmed by it all. You know, I'm like stuck in this place thinking like, I'm surrounded by darkness and death, and people screaming and crying, and like, I'm sure it stinks in here, and our bad choices notwithstanding, like, I didn't deserve this, right? But 2 a.m. is good, because 2 a.m. is when the patients are most soundly asleep. We get our sleep breaks. I can never sleep myself, so I eat an egg and do some writing. The egg is incidental, the writing's the important part. I write in a more focused way than I've ever done before, because I'm surrounded by nothing, you know, so I work really hard. I don't know this yet, but I wrote my first poetry set right there in the nursing room lounge, and a month later I enter into a slam where I come second. And I'm so pleased with that a month after that I enter another slam, which where I meet all the boys that from R16 who basically gone on to become my closest friends, and basically, you know, all this sort of shit is the reason I kind of don't kill myself on a regular basis. Yeah, so, you know, you think in the darkest hour is just for the dawn, right? And I clean up more shit and piss and help more screaming people, and then I go to the skate park at 6:30 in the morning, and at that time of the morning it's quiet and dark and empty and bright, and I actually feel pretty good, you know? But anybody who says the darkest hour is just for the dawn is a total buttload. Cheers.